Hi. Wow, is that me? We're live?
Yeah, I think we're live. I hope we are, Kevin.
Okay.
We woke up still not dead again today.
Well, we don't have Liz with us today.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was complaining about that because I said wouldn't know hardly how to deal with this without somebody sitting there chattering incessantly at me, and
Sorry.
that's okay. And Denny says he could fill this bill, so
No,
we're gonna.
Denny didn't say that at all. But I'll
Well-
try. I'll do the best I can.
So anyway, today we're gonna work on this happy little picture that we've been working on for a while, and as far as my hands being in the right place, that's gonna happen as long as everybody tells me that I need to move or do whatever it is I need to do.
You're doing perfect so far.
And that's about as good as it's gonna get. So
I'll try
what we're
to
gonna
spot
do
for you.
in an hour, no less, well, maybe less, I don't know, but we're gonna try to make this thing look a little bit better. And I've been griping to Liz about the fact that I haven't done this in so stupid long that it's kind of challenging to get into this and make it work. But I'm gonna try.
Well, I take it you're using all acrylic paints and not dye, right?
Well, yeah, and that's what makes it hard. So anyway, we gotta work with it. You know, I'm just gonna try.
What you've got started sure looks good to me.
Well, you know, my problem is when I learned how to do this, I learned with oil paints, as I mentioned before. And oil paints were kind of easy for me. I just really didn't have too much of a difficulty. But these acrylics are more challenging. And
Now,
You
what is the difference?
well, oil doesn't dry.
I understand the difference between the two different paints, but what makes one harder than the other?
Well, for me, it's probably just a personal thing. For me, the fact that the oil is smushy and doesn't dry, that made it easier for me.
I see, yes, and you aren't putting very much paint on,
No,
and it probably does dry pretty quickly.
it dries really quick. It's just you put it on and there it is.
Yeah, you can't change what you stroke on there. Huh?
Well, you can a little if you move fast, but that's the problem. Who wants to move fast when you don't know what you're doing? And that's kind of what I mentioned is I just don't know what I'm doing really a lot here.
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing pretty good.
Well, I
For not
appreciate
having any idea what you're doing.
I appreciate that. I actually have a picture on my phone of something that I did many years ago.
Oh, that is beautiful. Now, is that on leather or on canvas?
This is on
with oil paint.
canvas with oil paint.
Can you show it right over the top of the picture you got going on so everybody can?
Oh, this is sheesh. This is nothing you can compare.
Yeah.
That is gorgeous.
But we're gonna get
Hopkins.
we're gonna get some of those principles in here, at least hopefully. And that's the best I can tell you right now. So anyway, we're using white as a throughout here, and you know, again, if you're in doubt, smush it.
Smush it.
That's what I say. And you'll come up with, more than likely, something that'll kind of work. At least I hope. And, you know, one of the fun things about this is just trying.
Everything's an experiment.
Yeah, it really is. And it's just kind of fun to try, that's all I can tell you. So we're going to get into some black.
I've got to tell you, I had fun last week. I went to Nashville, Tennessee, and I had a a class down there with, I had 11 people there. I believe there was 11.
Yeah?
And we all had a big time. And after the show, or after the class, my wife and I went to see the Grand Ole Opry.
Oh, how was that?
Which was really, really cool.
I'll bet it was.
Really cool. Nothing like I expected. You know, I was thinking it was at the old Ryman Theater, which you always hear about, but this is a brand new place that they have it now, and it's in a place called Opryland. There's a huge shopping center right beside it with a Bass Pro in it, no less,
Yeah?
and
Huh.
all sorts of other things. But the theater itself holds about 4,500 people, and it was full. It was full.
Yeah?
And
Wow.
the sound was really great. There weren't any bad seats in the whole house. They had huge monitors all around on the walls. So if you didn't figure you were seeing well enough down on the stage, you could look at the monitor and see
Kinda-
the wrinkles in their forehead, you know. You know, it was for me, it was probably a once in a lifetime deal. I doubt that I'll ever go back,
Yeah?
but it was definitely worth that one time.
I have never been, and yeah, it's kind of appealing to me. I wouldn't mind being
Yeah.
able to do that.
You want me to take you, Kevin?
No.
I'm a great talker.
Well, that
And
would
then I know
be,
when to be quiet when the opera starts.
yeah.
I've been there twice.
Have you?
Yeah, I'm an expert. I can take you.
You have been to the Opry twice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Why did you go?
Usually to listen to music.
That's strictly the reason?
Yeah. And I like to be entertained.
Yeah?
So I've met both needs.
I guess we're falling short here, Denny.
Yeah,
Where's your guitar at, Kevin?
Home, where it belongs.
boy, there were some really fine musicians there.
Gosh,
mean,
I can only imagine.
these guys weren't your run-of-the-mill backyard guitar players.
Well, always amazed me how people could get that talented. But I guess it's practice.
Yeah. Well, you know, talent has a lot to do with it, but just working at it, I imagine playing so often, you know, 20.
Well, you know, so long ago, when I played music and actually people paid me to do that. When you play, you know, every day, and then on weekends you play for hours and hours in front of people, you get makes you better just
Yeah,
immediately.
I would think.
Okay, now I gotta start to get a little creative here, I guess.
Mix and match.
Mix and match, black and green. I want some breen. We're gonna darken up the center of our trees.
What's amazing me about this is it's not just this shiny coat of stuff that you're putting on. Every time I've used acrylic paint, all I get is just this thick coat of stuff, you know?
Yeah. Well,
But that doesn't look at all like that.
going on.
Smushing.
Yep. And I'm trying to keep the amount of paint pretty much to a minimum. I mean, really, sorta. Darkening up everything a little bit again. And I don't know, this probably sounds, whoops, kind of stupid, but the advice I would give to somebody that wants to do this is just pretend that you know what you're doing. That sounds
And
kind of funny, doesn't it?
Yeah, and don't tell anyone otherwise. So you already gave yourself away, Kevin.
Yeah, I guess so.
But you can still pretend.
Well, I am. Darkening up the trees, which, if you remember, there's some lighter areas under it. So that gives you some highlight color stuff. And we're gonna, one thing too that is good to keep in mind is the direction of your brush strokes. Because you can see them. You can probably see them here. And we're gonna go back and do some other weird stuff here.
That's on the directional brush strokes right there.
Yes. And
Well, that's really changing the whole outlook of the thing.
well, it does. That's the idea. And then we're going to do some other little things that hopefully will change it even more. Let's see. I got to remember to do certain things that I'd forgotten that I needed to do. And that's kind of like put a straight black line across the faraway trees. I mean, the world won't end if you don't. But a lot of this is really, really, really just a lot of details. Building colors up. Because you can always, you know, I always have said that when you're doing a belt, for instance, when I was teaching kids how to tool leather and how to stamp on a belt, don't worry too much about mistakes, because you can always dye it black. So when you're painting on this stuff, you can always paint over paint, and it's not that big a deal. So let's see, get some ishy green in here. It can be a little hard. Well, it is hard to get the color that you want on your brush, especially when you're doing it the way I'm doing it here. Because, again, I'm not sure.
You're just daubing that on there.
Well,
You aren't even making brush strokes, right?
nope, I'm not. But you know, it kind of works.
Yeah. Yeah, it gives it kind of a mottled look.
Yeah. So here's I think, whoops. My phone wants to continually shut off, and I need all the help I can get when it comes to making this stuff look a stuff on this. So I'm going to take, you know, this might work. Let's clean it off. The reason I use such a big thing of water is because you can clean out a whole bunch of different colors and it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, it dilutes it quite
Yep.
a bit more. Yeah.
So we're going to take a little bit of white Covidine. If that fly doesn't go away, I'm going to paint him. I mean, not right away.
Are you going to worry about what shade?
Uh,
A happy little bird in here.
let's see. You have to tell me, guys, if I'm...
You're doing great, Kevin. I came and adjusted the camera when I needed to.
Okay,
You just
That-
keep doing what you're doing.
that just is not working.
Don't expect any more attaboys though from me today.
Okay,
That's all I got.
well, I don't know if that's gonna work, we'll find out. This is a very, 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 hopefully skinny fine brush. So we're gonna take that. We're gonna make some little vertical lines with some others connecting it and
Yeah, that's showing up really well on camera, what
Is
you're
it?
doing there.
for such little amounts of paint. It's funny how they can make such a difference, isn't it?
Really, you know, it looked good. It always looks good, and then you do something, and I think, wow, that even looks better.
Hopefully.
Adding the shadows and the highlights are what make it all come to life.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just kind of hope I can get it sort of the way I want it within a reasonable amount of time, that's always the tricky part.
Don't worry, you still got 42 minutes left.
Oh, great.
And we can always do it again on Friday.
What?
We can do this again on Friday.
Oh.
If you need to.
Glorious.
The schedule's fluid.
Fluid.
We're not shooting for perfection. Just
Well-
excellence.
I'm happy to comply with the first part that you mentioned there, because you're not gonna get any. As far as excellence, that's gonna be challenging too.
Well, just keep striving. That's all you can do, Kev.
Yeah. Well, how did I do that? Oh, that's how I did it. Huh. And it is so easy to forget.
That's really sad when you have to copy off of yourself.
Yeah, it kind of is, eh? Let's see. Taking some yellow and taking a brush that's been thoroughly wet and sort of halfway cleansed of black. You know what? I'm just going to need some yellow. Pouring paint like this is questionable, shall we say?
With oil paint, you would just squirt it on there, right?
Well, you squirt a little blob on there and you can mess around. The nice stuff stays wet forever. I don't like that very much. We'll try this one.
Hayden was asking Denny, can we do a video on how you make your saddle patterns? I asked if he had seen the whole saddle series, because we went over that, and you talked about when you made your ballpark patterns.
Yeah.
Which, did we ever get those scanned in, or did Ryan get them?
I can't tell you that. I'm not aware.
I remember that was the next part of the plan, wasn't it?
I believe so, yes.
To have some saddle ballpark patterns?
Yeah. I've still got them.
I will remind him.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, it really makes a difference, doesn't it? funny how little
Well,
things.
And it's yellow, but it doesn't look so yellow on top of what you've already got there.
Well, yeah,
More of a green. Maybe I'm colorblind, I don't know.
that'd be helpful.
More highlights on the foliage,
Yeah.
the sun spots. Some mice. 40, Kevin?
It helps.
Okay.
I get caught up here and then I forget to think. I mean, I forget to talk, and I forget a lot. But
Either one works.
It's
Thinking
the-
or talking.
it's the way it is, and I don't want to be boring to people.
I don't know that anybody has thought that yet. At least not in chat.
Yeah, this is amazing to me.
Oops.
Oops.
Oh, as you're going along, you realize what you miss and what you forget and all that other stuff. And another thing it's good to keep in mind is to remember that, and this is kind of important, but when you're working with paint, it always dries lighter than what you think. So that's a good thing to remember. And it dries faster than you think. Which means you have to keep your brush wet. Because if you don't, it gets to be hard as a carp. And a carp can get to be pretty hard. Especially if it's sat a while. No doubt you have experience with that.
Yes. Hard carps. My wife, we were down by Stockton Lake, but it was where the Sauk River runs into the lake.
Yeah.
And it was this time of year, it was a while back, and it was kind of half flooded, and it was up in the woods, the water was, and the carp were spawning up in there. My wife hooked a big one on a little 4-pound test rod and reel.
Yeah, that's an experience.
Oh,
ain't it?
yeah. And she fought around with that thing, but it was on the other side of this log, and she
Oh,
couldn't get across this
that was it.
log, so she didn't get it in, but she remembers that to this day.
Yeah, I would too. I had a similar experience in Taneycomo. I don't know, I might have told you. When I just moved to Missouri. Went there trout fishing, like everybody does. I was catching trout, just having a good old time catching small trout. They weren't very big. I mean, maybe 10 inches at the most. And catching those things and catching them. And my friend was there. He was the one that showed me how to go down there and do that. And we were just catching lots of trout. And I hooked up a big one. Oh, gosh, it was a big fish. And so, and again, 4-pound test. What do? You just sit there and,
Let it run.
well, I got a little impatient, which I know everybody here finds that hard to believe.
That's what I was thinking.
But I did, and I broke the line. I thought, I just lost the Missouri state record trout. That's what I thought. And I fished, didn't catch nothing. But we went back, a couple days later, and I thought, well, maybe that dumb old fish is still there. Got to be evening time. We stayed into dark, and man, I hooked a big one. Oh, it was a big fish. And I just let him run. I tried to be patient, and I tried so hard. Got that thing halfway in, he was gone. Man, I was frustrated. Just frustrated. We fished and fished into the night. Dang, if I didn't hook another big one. It was a big old fish. I just let him run around. And finally, I got that thing up to where I couldn't see very much because it was really, really dark. But I was trying to work on my way back onto the bank, so I could ease him up onto the shallows. Went down there, just stupid 20-pound carp. Gosh. I was a little aggravated, I guess you could
But
say.
carp, they have a bad rap.
Yeah.
They are really fun to catch.
Oh my goodness.
They are
yes.
fun to catch. My grandfather, he was a fisherman, but he was a worm and crawdad fisherman. He just loved that kind of stuff.
Well, I was too.
Because he lived down on the river, But
Yeah.
he got a fly rod. My uncle got him a fly rod for his birthday one year with one of those automatic fly reels.
Yep.
And he would catch carp on that thing. He'd put 20-pound test line on the leader, and go down to the river and just fish for carp. He'd use dough balls of some sort.
Yeah, bread.
Yeah, and he'd catch those big old carp, and he just loved having that fight that he got out of them.
Yeah.
And my grandmother she was a carp cooker.
Oh, well.
If you cook those right, they are good eating.
Well, you got to take that mud strip out of them.
Yeah, she would always score them on the side about every quarter of an inch.
Yeah, that way the bones would cook away.
Yeah, and she would just fry them in really hot grease. She did the same thing with suckers, and
Suckers you can do.
Yeah, but the carp are about the same thing. And they were good.
Well, they're a big deal in Japan.
Yeah.
I sure caught a lot of them, but we didn't know about that, how to fix them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I wanted to eat them, but after a time or two, I just didn't have that same level of want.
Yeah. Well, everybody complains about them, says they're bottom feeders. They don't want that.
Well,
old
I don't
stuff.
care about that.
Every fish you catch is a bottom feeder.
Yeah, pretty much. Trout, they're out there scrounging them little shrimp out from under the rocks.
Yeah.
But
How'd we get on fishing?
I don't know, I'm working on a lake.
You were
Does that
talking
count?
about hard carp.
Yeah. Oh, well.
You're really adding some nice highlights to that.
Huh. Seemed like I had another brush. I do. Yeah, we need to get some other color in there. Let's see. Think Alpine. Oh. Turquoise?
It's alpine.
Is it? Well, it may be for all I know. But we'll use it. Let's see if we can. I'm gonna glop. Well, maybe I better pour a little on here. I'm not sure there's any turquoise in there.
Is that a false alarm?
Yeah. There's a little bit down in there. We'll just work with that. Get some water on it, thin it out, spread it around a little bit. Yeah, we'll see what we can come up with here. When in doubt, work in a place that ain't critical. And you keep your paint thin enough where kind of wish it was a little brighter. Boy, if you're going to work with the bright stuff, you just have to be awfully darn careful. Well, maybe. Let's see here. So, I know Liz wanted me to paint this dumb water.
Everybody's been asking about it.
Really?
Yeah. They said, see how Kevin's conveniently working around the water.
Well, I'm gonna paint it then. Oh, let's see, we'll just paint the water. You can always go back and put color on your picture any way you want it, really. I guess I should put some, maybe. Before I do the water, we'll just do this. Don't have any orange smushed around. Oh, there's some. Want something bright.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I like. And you can put different colors. You know, if you ever, well, I'm sure you've driven around in Missouri enough to know those sumacs and things, man, they got about 12 different colors of red.
Yeah. That's about the color of those Indian paintbrushes, too.
Oh, I love those things.
Yeah.
They're pretty good stuff.
Very nice.
Get your colors kind of, sort of spread out and around. Okay, the water. Water, water everywhere. Water, water, water. I got paint on my fingers. Which is what happens. Water and sky are hard to make look nice, but it can be done. Sort of. And we're gonna need probably a little bit of white. You know, usually the first color that people go to when they're gonna do water painting is
Blue.
blue.
That's what I would do.
And that's just not all that happy. We're just going to use white. And it's kind of important to check just how much paint you have on your brush before you go sticking it on the leather. And once you get that drilled into your head, that'll help you a lot. With the oils, the nice thing about that is that you can mush it and you can blend it. It's harder to blend acrylics. You can do it, it's just harder, that's all. And it might take a little more concentration, I don't know. But I'm gonna get this water, dumb old water. You can probably tell already, Denny, you're close by, but that helps.
Yes, yes, I can see water. Before I saw it, leather colored expanse there.
Yep.
With some waves in it.
And even if you don't think that you're leaving much color on the leather, don't worry about that, because in reality, there is something on that brush in addition to the water. There's maybe not very much, but there's something. And that has an effect of sealing the surface. And
I can definitely see that.
that's a good thing that it does that. Because it allows you to paint over the top of it easier.
Oh, when the surface is sealed?
Yes. A little bit. We gotta get some definition up there. That's why it's so darn hard to, it's just hard to, at least it's hard for me to do this in such a short time. But I don't know, for anybody that wants to do this, it's probably a good opportunity you'll have to watch somebody. We used to tease each other rather in Iowa. Well, nothing much to do is sit around and watch paint dry. Sit around and watch the corn grow. Okay. Then we're gonna switch, well, not yet, quite yet, but gotta get a base from which to work. Then we're gonna start adding stuff. I think I'll just go ahead and do something completely crazy here. Make a happy little white tree. Never should have put that tree like that in the first place. I know how to do that, I just didn't. Hopefully we can kind of Make it look like a birch.
Yeah, that's out there weathering on the lake bank.
Yeah. At least that's the hope. And I don't know if it's gonna work. But we'll try. Well, kind of a sorry little old birch, but you know what it's gonna do. It's gonna do what it's gonna do. Okay, let's see. While I had that on there, to remember how I did. Oh yeah, that's how I did that. Whew. Well, you know, as much leather work as you've done, Denny, you ever find yourself thinking, how did I do that?
Oh, I do that on a regular basis, Kevin.
Really?
Well, right now I'm doing some stuff that needs to match or at least coincide with a project that I've done already. And I start working on it and I think, how did I do that? What's that supposed to look like? You know, and I've got to go back and either look at the exact project or a picture of it, just like you're doing.
Yeah. Hmm.
And you know, a lot of, like I make tap-off patterns for flowers and leaves and stuff. I try to make a finished, a finished flower or a finished leaf to put in my package with the tap-off, so I know what it's supposed to look like after I actually tool it.
Yeah.
Because if I don't do that, 9 times out of 10 I'll do it differently and it won't come out the way I meant for it to.
Does everybody out there know what you mean by tap off?
Oh, I don't know. A tap-off pattern is I draw the outline of a flower or a leaf or whatever structure I'm talking about and cut it out with a swivel knife. And after that dries, then I will actually cut that outline where I've got just that flower, the outline of that flower and the inside parts of it. And I can put that face down on a piece of damp leather and tap it with a hammer, and you will get that impression.
It's really pretty amazing how that works.
It's just like a carve-right, only it works the opposite way of a carve-right.
Yeah.
But they're sure nothing new, you know.
No, they've been used forever.
Yeah.
Very handy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Gotta remember my water. Okay, now we need oof. Ooh. My good old blue. Well, oh, yep, got some. Although not very much. This is when you want to really have some fading. So boy, am I gonna fade. I may be fading. Well,
Fade away.
hope so.
Yeah.
case anybody's interested, this is nerve-wracking.
Very nice, though.
It's really hard to bring colors up to where you've tooled. The hard part about this is getting your brush loaded same way twice. Because it is difficult. Sometimes it's hard just to get anything on your brush.
Well, I can see what you mean, how nerve-wracking it is, because either you're too much or none at all.
Yeah. Well, but it's happening.
Yeah, it's looking gorgeous.
Slow but sure. Oh gosh. Wish my picture would quit going away. I gotta remember which parts. But it's the it's the final part of this that is very hard. At least it is for me. May not be for everybody else. One thing to keep in mind, your brush has a lot of stuff in it. Getting it out of that brush sometimes is the harder part. And one of the things that I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to do anything with is you can see the effect that your beveling has on the way that you dye this stuff. It's hard to get right up next to something. So a lot of times you paint over something that maybe you really felt like
You should have left it alone.
But the nice thing about it is you can paint over it. And that's what would happen here under the best of circumstances, which these are not. Anyway, the fact that you can paint over stuff is really, really something that's nice to remember. Then, let's see, we're going to take white. nerve-wracking part.
Then with the white, you're just kind of toning down those areas a little bit.
Trying. Well, I want to wash it. It's very hard to wash acrylic paint. Or at least it is for me. There's probably a lot of professionals out there that are really good at it. I'm sure there are. I'm just not one of them.
You should give yourself credit.
Well, one thing, your water isn't. This is something that you could paint on for days, and you get to thinking that it's never going to be right. But that's not true, and you want to avoid that line of thought if you possibly can, because who is it that determines what's exactly correct? You're going to, if you ever try to do this, and I hope you get to, you're going to find, without fail, that you're your own worst critic. Huh.
Okay, when you were talking about washing, what did you mean by washing that?
You're familiar with ketchup and mustard, right?
Yes.
Most of us are. Just think about putting a splurp of ketchup down and a splurp of mustard down and getting them all nice and evenly blended. That's kind of what I'm thinking about.
I see.
And if you can develop that ability to wash your colors, that's just a big old deal. Makes a big difference in the way your stuff is going to look. Big difference. I got washed that through some paint, didn't get nothing on it, apparently. Come on, paint. I don't want no yellow on there. My paint was being disobedient. Somewhat. Not cooperating overly nicely here. And one of the other things that's a real pain about trying to color something like this is if you have parts that the leather has really been altered a lot, it's hard to work on those places because the paint just acts differently on top of highly beveled areas. Just a lot differently. Sort of kind of getting there now. So anyway, with heavy colors like white and black, you just have to be careful. I mean, what else can you say? But I'll guarantee you, no matter what you do, if you try a picture like this, you're going to find that people that look at it are always going to say, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. I guarantee people that look at this will.
Well, you know, like I said, we're our own worst enemy, worst critic. I just need to get some depth in some places where I'm having a hard time getting it. The place up there is bugging me. That's better. Not bugging me as much as it was.
I see what you mean about the direction of your brush strokes.
Yeah, it's really, really kind of important. Ooh, got some bad ones there. And we're getting there slow but sure. Having some depth areas are pretty desirable. Let's see. Well, I just got to get something down there. That's all there is to it. You know, stuff like this, I will say, it gives you a whole new appreciation for some of those Japanese artists.
Oh, yeah.
They're so talented and meticulous when it comes to their work in some of those instances. I mean, they're just so good. I've just been blown away.
When I was at the IFOLG show, there was this one project. It was I believe it was either a handbag or like a portfolio, and it was beautifully tooled. But the closure on it was a sea turtle, and it's hard to visualize this, but that turtle looked so real, and the colors on it were just so outrageously perfect.
Yeah.
And of course, it was Japanese.
Yep. Well, oh, wait a minute. You know, orange can go in a lot of things.
But not water.
Not water. Unless it's a goldfish or something. But I'm getting to the point where I'm just going to get kind of okay with it. Well, I don't know, that's kinda okay.
Looks like a lake to me.
Then we're gonna take, take some very little, didn't like that one.
Making a few little white caps.
Well, just lake marks.
Lake marks, okay.
Be better if I wasn't so dang lazy and I'd use the right brush. But I've already explained that. So anyway, come on, paint. Cooperate.
Lake marks.
Yeah, kinda. And let's see. Okay. Now. Let's see, this is more difficult. But the way it is. This yellow is covers a multitude of sins. There's kind of a multitude of color to cover.
Can't paint everything yellow.
No, but you can paint a lot of yellow. Oops. I think I just painted a lot of blue. I guess I could have put it on there and it wouldn't have really mattered. After a while you get a pretty interesting looking piece of cardboard.
Yeah.
Black is something you kind of want to be careful with a little, but it sure does serve to give you definition where you need it. And that's always good. You probably noticed you can do a lot of this with one brush, which ideally is, again, goes back to that lazy part. Wish I had a different color for a flower. Guess I could use purple, huh? Oh, hey. Lavender. Is that what it is? Lilac. Same diff.
Basically the same thing.
Whoa, that stuff's thick. That paint probably hasn't been opened in 5 years. I'm kind of curious as to what it's going to do. So we'll find out. It's kind of pretty, I like it. Maybe not that part. I don't know. You know, the that's starting to look okay.
Oh, you guys are still going.
Hello, Liz.
Oh,
Hi.
have I gone overtime?
I don't know what time it is.
I mean, it's 12:09.
Oh, not that bad.
I haven't been worried about it because Kevin's been doing so good.
Yeah, Kevin's been doing nothing, sitting here quiet as a church mouse.
Oh,
That's pretty. Hello.
hi, Liz.
Look at that. Some good looking water.
Well, it's water, and it could be a lot worse. I will say that. So, I'm putting on last touches for today. You know, that sky. You do the sky the same way you do the water.
Are you going to do it on Friday?
I wasn't planning on it.
Well, you got a few days to decide.
You have one day to decide.
You have the rest of today and tomorrow.
So how is Chris?
He's okay, but he will have surgery on Tuesday or Friday if they have a cancellation, but probably Tuesday.
Personally, I think that last thing helped a ton.
I do too. I do too.
Because it gave that depth in the proper dimension to the trees.
Gave him a browse line.
Yeah, and really, you know, I should have made a fog line.
What are you doing, Denny? That's your job.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I've been mesmerized here.
I'm gonna try and.
Aw.
What?
Larry said we needed Denny to add some laughing, but he isn't.
I would like to do fog over this. But I don't know if I,
Well, we can fog Friday. Fog Friday?
Fog
When
frog.
we do the sky.
Yeah. Oh, I just can't wait to frame this, Denny, and hang it up.
I know, it's
Sherry
gorgeous.
said it needs to have a nice leather frame.
It does. It can be a compilation between the two of you, unless Kevin feels like framing. But I feel like he's gonna.
you can to a little extent.
Currently, he's drifting off
Yeah.
in this water.
You can, to a little extent, you could pull color
I would-
down.
Do we want to
I would
like
move you, but I'm
drift
afraid.
over here? Right there. You can do that. Okay, perfect. We're tapping, guys. We're tapping.
Putting some shadows in and, I was looking at a picture I did years ago.
Did you show him that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to remember what I did and how I did it and all that other stuff. And
Is that one at home? Or is that here?
it's here.
Oh, it looks like our wall.
So anyway, we got what we got up to this point, and
Kevin, is this one tooled?
no.
It's just paint?
Just oil paint,
Okay.
yeah. So,
Okay.
it's just so, you can just go forever on the dumb things.
Well, I do think you should come back Friday and go forever all day.
Go for another hour. I'll get you a new piece of cardboard.
Well, the problem is just, I hate, I don't like to bore people.
I don't think anyone is bored.
No one got bored today, I guarantee that.
Well, you're very kind. I think, it's almost, I wonder if I dare. No, I probably not. I keep forgetting to.
To do this, to look.
Yeah. Well, that's a little better.
You don't want people to see what you're doing, do you?
Oh, sorry.
Here, let's just.
I forget.
What happened to Chris? He tore his bicep attempting, he moved a washing machine, and he tore his bicep. He didn't even have to have a scan. The surgeon came in and he poked it and he said, "Yep, that's not where it's supposed to be." And he saw the bruise on the bottom of the arm and he's like, "Yep, that looks like a tear." So we'll do surgery next week, and he'll
Yeah,
have
this is the guy that can lift 2 tons with his pinky finger.
Yeah, that washing machine weighed 3 though.
I think it was just because it wasn't even really like he was lifting it like this, but it's his left arm where it tore. It's just a weird,
Odd
yeah,
position.
just an odd position. So, but this is his first surgery he's ever had to have. So I think he did pretty good for almost 40.
Well, I hope he doesn't.
But they're not doing surgery today.
No, it'll be. They said they're booked up on Friday. It seems like they do surgeries on Fridays and Tuesdays, is what I gathered. Everybody has their surgery schedule and then their office schedule and all those shenanigans. And so he's like, "I've got a full Friday." So he's like, "If somebody cancels, I'll let you know. But otherwise, it'll be Tuesday
Tuesday of
next week."
upcoming week.
Yeah, they have a short amount of time to fix it because of so it can keep going back up into your arm. And so they do a cut here. And if they wait too long, they possibly have to go up into the upper arm to grab the tendon and pull it back down. So they prefer to not do that. So they have, I guess, like 2 weeks after an injury. And we're only 3 days right now. So I guess next Tuesday is fine. Chris is not. He's like, I just like this afternoon. Can you just go in and fix it? He's ready. He was ready Sunday when it happened. He's like, get it fixed. Ready to go.
He'll probably have to do rehab and all that.
Possibly. I mean, he's pretty
He'll
good. Like
probably do his own.
if they give him a schedule, he'll get her done. His coach will probably give him a whole set of things to do, anyways.
Well, I'm glad it's him and not me. I'm sorry it's him. Does that make any sense? You know, I think I've painted enough for today.
Chevy said I'd hang it up on my wall. Michael said we should just do a plain frame, that way it'll pop with the picture.
Yeah.
You could just do some finger carving.
I got paint all over myself.
Well, you used it to wash with, remember?
Oh yeah. Well, it looks better from back here. I still, I'm always going to be my own worst enemy, and I know I can make the mountains look better, and I know I can make the sky look better. But right now, this is good enough for today.
You want to make it like not running uphill? There we are.
It can run uphill with Kate Bush.
You helped your tree a lot there too.
Yeah, it needed help.
I like just the little yellow that you put in right at the top of the mountain, or like the little hill. Just makes it pop. Makes that light hit it.
Yeah, and there's really, I should be putting little sticks there and stuff, but yeah.
We got Friday.
We're getting double Kevin time. I love it.
I had to open my own paint bottles today.
Oh no. I did get it ready though. Except for the water. I didn't get you water, but I figured this morning you could do water.
I got my water.
He came in and he did it.
Good. Alrighty, folks. Well, that is part 3 of Kevin doing things. So we'll see if we can convince him to do a Friday as well. Otherwise, we'll have Denny doing something, I'm sure. Alrighty, folks. Have a good rest of your day, and we will see you
Thanks.
tomorrow for live shopping on Facebook only.
Ooh.
Bye.
Bye.